Hello and welcome to episode number 52. In my eyes, and if you don't already know, Little Simz aka Simbi Ajikawo, in my eyes, is one of the best UK artists period. The praise she's gotten from Kendrick and Jay Z is no coincidence. Her wordplay, subject matters and production attention are all on point and have elevated her into stardom. In a 2013 interview by Cassius Waltman, she describes her sound as eclectic, something that appeals to all different types of people. And keep in mind, she had this outlook back in 2013 when tickets to a Roundhouse show with stars including herself and Jacob Banks went for £10. Her influences are interestingly Jill Scott and Erykah Badu, but also artists like Pablo Picasso, who pioneered analytic cubism, where he took apart objects and analysed them in terms of their shapes. Another artist she is inspired by is Alex Grey, whose work is a blend of sacred and postmodern art. And even if you look at her early mixtape and EP art, you can definitely see some of those influences there in the art. She's not fussed about being like someone, she's simple. She likes the way she dresses while also understanding that fame brings its own scrutiny. She actually said, "I didn't like the idea of selling my integrity to a label, just to be someone that I'm not anyway." Her early work sort of demonstrates some commentary vaguely around this theme. From Age 101 Drop 1, she comments on her environment that the youth just spiral into selling drugs because that's the only hope they have, because their definition of success is defined differently. And it's especially clear when the scope of riches is limited to your council block. The fact she adds to this with her own viewpoint here is interesting. It's commentary on how she's looking for the same sense of desire that the kids on the block have, not necessarily for the same thing though. Is it that being yourself can lead you to something you never wanted? On Deranged, she personifies her listeners and asks the rhetoric, are we really who we are? What are our values? Who do we want to be? Should we just give up on the concept of ambition? These are very mature concepts for a 19-year-old to speak on. A Curious Tale of Trials Plus Persons was her first album in 2015. It's a whole trip of emotions about combating fame, the belief in your own ability to grow. For example, the track Wings speaks on how she admits she's failed before, and that's fine. It was her repeated persistence though that got her through. For reference, this album was her 11th project. 11th. Wings also has this beautiful line where she pauses to introspect. She's already questioned the reason she prayed in the past, prayed to God for requests. She realized her true motive with praying should be gratitude. Gratitude for everything that you've been given and the chances that other people have taken on you. The idea that praying is not for asking but for communicating, like a two-way street, is a drastic mind shift from being bitter about the world. Stillness in Wonderland was a foray into the belief of growth, that everyone has their own Wonderland. The whole concept of this album was to identify the parallels with Alice in Wonderland, the beauty, the distractions and the trappings of the world of entertainment. Just look at the lyrics here. Things are never really like what they seem. Life got to me when I hit that 18, trying to get them to recognize, heard but ain't seen. The use of end rhymes here tie into her frustrations. That honesty that often goes unrecognized is what she's meaning. Her struggle of finding gratitude from others. It's also good commentary on how she realizes the truth about the world at such a young age, at 18, that success is not so black and white as the media would have you think. And that leads on to the next album that she released, Grey Area, which was life just being a big grey mess in between black and white, nothing being set in stone and that plans are a myth. You can hope and wish all you want, but something else entirely will happen and you won't expect it. It's playing on that uncertainty. The cycle repeats itself. One day you have a friend, the next day you don't, and that's what happened to her when her friend Harry Uzoka was stabbed to death by his friend turned rival after a dispute over a girl. Life being unpredictable and not always for good reason is a tough situation to be in. You don't want the negativity to overwhelm you, but you know you've changed. Another line of therapy, the fact that people can read a book like The Alchemist with its vast life lessons and still be the same, sort of plays on the ignorance that people have. She's trying to say that the priorities of life for most people lack empathy. No one cares about how other people are doing in a completely selfless sense, no matter how much guidance they're given, and no one tries to do the best that they can because they're often blinded by other things, and that's fine. But in some situations they're given a lot of guidance and they still do nothing. As Dr. Manhattan says in the Watchmen movie, I can change almost anything in the universe, but I can't change human nature. You know, overall, I've always admired Simbi, not because of her innate skill, but because of the way she's presented herself, calm, composed, and ready to speak her mind. And the stories she presents are quite simple. They aren't complex tales or political in nature, but they consistently have deeper connotations and symbolic meaning. I've covered just a fraction of her work here, and you should definitely check the rest out.